I'll remember all my life. Though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone, and some remain. All these places at their moments, with lovers and friends, I still can recall. Some are dead and some are living. In my life, I've loved them all. But of all these friends and lovers, there is no one compares with you. Though these memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I'll love you more. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. In my life, I love you more.
Look to your left and look to your right. Look in front of you and look behind you. And look at all of the friends that Walter has. We will now hear from a few of Walter's friends.
Good, I guess. Is that right? My name is Melissa Lee. I'd like to share two quick Walter stories. One, a recent one, and one from longer ago. Last February, the phone rang. It was my mother-in-law, Madeline. In a small voice, she said, "Melissa, I fell." I ran over, called 911 first, Eric second. When I came back to her side, the only question she asked was, "Will it be Walter?" Walter was not on duty. He wasn't on call, but two ambulances were out on runs, and it was Walter who came to the door that evening. I got to be a fly on the wall in the ambulance and watch Walter in action. He was so comforting. He was teasing. He was chatty, talking about his grandchildren and the rest of his family. He was attentive. And all the while, there were the two levels going on, the compassionate level and the medical level. He called the hospital with vital signs. He paid attention to Madeline's pain. He attended to smaller injuries. As we learned from the subsequent ambulance ride to Bangor, this was not just business as usual. This was Walter Care. Capital W, capital C. I I know Walter showing up in times of need when he was supposed to be somewhere else is a common experience. Of the 3 staff people who work at the library besides Suzanne, we all have a Walter Care story. All 3 of us. 3 out of 3. I don't mean to imply that this can be extrapolated and say that 100% of the town has a Walter Care story like this, but I don't think it's too far off. He made such a difference. Thank you, Walter. The second story is for building the community playground out here, way back when. The project was Walter all over. It involved so many people in the community. A lot of you are right here. It involved and was for children. It was a people project and a building project. It's inconceivable that he would not have been involved. For the days of the build, Walter was Mr. Tool Trailer. His job was to borrow, record, lend, and return hundreds of tools from dozens of people and places. Luckily, he had in-house expertise in checking items in and items out and items back in. And with Suzanne, they developed a system of keeping track of who had what and returned. Walter was Papa Bear in that trailer. No one got past him to take a tool just for a second. There was never a second of doubt about his reliability. I always listened to his ideas because they were always worth listening to. He was sometimes grumpy, but always diligent. He didn't shy from a challenge, wasn't afraid of something big. I loved doing projects with Walter. He was such a believer in community, in home, in people. The community playground was one of a long list of endeavors with these same themes that Walter could be found in the middle of. Thank you, Walter. I'd like to read a short excerpt from J. Patrick Lewis and George L. Lyons. And in that moment, I fall in love with what I have to do. Live this work, sing what's true, figure out how. Thank you, Walter.
My name is Ben Thompson. I've known Walter for 39 years, ever since he first moved up to the area. I came up the same year. And I thought of 50 things that Walter has done that I've known about since he's lived in the area. And then I'm sure this is only a partial list. And I'm sure many of you will add more to it later on today. But he was a commercial diver. He was a tugboat crewman. He was a private school teacher, a summer camp director, a cabin builder, a sheep farmer, a bear hunter, a dairy farmer, a turkey farmer, a crop farmer, a cow breeder, a beekeeper, a woodcutter with a draft horse, philosophy for children teacher, homeschool teacher, carpenter, cabinet maker, furniture maker, scallop diver, land steward, gatherer of tips for reeds, party host and punch maker, Navy subcontractor, investment analyst, editor of the New Yorker and the Wall Street Journal, house builder, barn builder, board member of the Washington County Health Plan, chairman of the board of the hospital in Machias, furniture maker instructor, volunteer firefighter, EMT, paramedic, helped organize a marathon. He was a tractor mechanic, snowplow driver, tow truck driver, motorcycle rider, innkeeper, pizza maker, playground maker, ice cream maker, gun collector, flagpole maker, Quaker Meeting House builder, clerk of the Quaker Meeting, first day school teacher, caretaker for the sick, elderly, and disabled, uncle to all the neighborhood children, father, brother, grandfather, uncle, husband, and awesome friend. What Walter was not was a good cook. I think he would have died of starvation if it hadn't been for Suzanne. But Walter was also, he may not have excelled with these other things all the time, But he was a true citizen. In the true sense of the word, he worked tirelessly to make his home, his neighborhood, his community, his county, and his state a better place to live. He did this without expectation of money or reward. He did this because it was the right thing to do. He did this because he believed in it with every fiber of his being. He did this because it was the morally correct thing to do. He watched over his friends and family, but he also looked after the sick, the disabled, the elderly, and the incapacitated. He reached out to people who didn't even know that he existed. He was a guide, guard, protector, and healer of his community. He was a great man and a great citizen and a great friend. But I do want to say that with this level of dedication comes sacrifice for the rest of his family. So I want Ethan and Jennifer and Suzanne to know that this sacrifice didn't go unnoticed, and that their sacrifice helped create a world that's better for all of us and for humankind. Walter, we love you and we miss you.
Hi, I'm Bob Bell from Edmonds. I remember Walter would come to the waiting area. I'd see this big, giant, yellow pickup Dodge, big ridge on the front. And then this guy with a big black beard, black hair, t-shirt, cut-off shorts, short pants, big pocket. I said, what? What is this? And Suzanne would get out. I said, she's dressed just about the same way. Where did they come from? Where did they come here? Why? So I'd be traveling through the community, see the trucks, see them. And as time went on, he showed up at the farm one day and he said, look, Mr. Bell, I've got this garden I need to get plowed. Is there any way that you could possibly help me with plowing this garden? You got cornfield right over there. My dad looks at him and said, maybe Friday. Friday came, no plowing. Monday morning, Walter came in again and said, Mr. Bell, it's Alton. So, can I get that garden plowed? Do you think you could take a tractor and go plow that? Maybe. So, Dad plowed it, I think, on Wednesday. And by the time that Walter came around to visit and thank him, the whole mood had changed, and Walter just said, I want to learn how to farm. There's so much I need to know about this area, and I want to homestead, and I want to do this, and all those things I need to learn. And so Walter pitched right in, helped with the chores, helped with milking, and over time, he became a very, very good friend. I remember one day, one fall, we had corn to chop, and I said, I need help chopping this corn. Can you drive a vehicle? He said, what do you need driven? I said, that 10-wheeler log truck right there. We're going to put sideboards. Doug and I did work 2 days putting sideboards on it. And Suzanne said, anything I can do to help? I said, well, there's that other truck. That's a 2-ton truck. So the two of them drove silage to Machias for as much as, I think it was like 2.5 weeks. And Dad would chop, I would pack the silo, do the farm chores, and there would be Walter and Suzanne driving through Machias with these silage trucks. And one day the tailgate opened up and spread some silage through the town of Machias. The police kind of helped Suzanne get the thing on. Walter was all embarrassed. His wife didn't know the tailgate was open. And I said, Walter, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just silage on the road. That's not bad at all. So as time went on, he learned the farm. He worked with us on the farm. We cut wood together. My brother Terry and I and Walter would have lunch in the woods, and sometimes his father's birthday is the same day as my father's birthday, our father's birthday. Coconut cream pie would show up out in the woods, and Walter and my dad would come out, Walter Sr. and my dad would come out and bring out this coconut pie. So that was kind of a ritual for about January 17th for many, many years. So Walter one time said, I'd like to raise a pig. I said, well, there's a cattle dealer coming by, and he said he had some pigs available. So I saw this cattle dealer 2 days later, and I said, I'd take a couple of pigs. So I come home one night from the woods and get ready to do chores. He sees 2 pigs in a pen. I said, Walter, your pig came. Walter said, well, I can't come over tonight, but tomorrow sometime I'll be able to pick it up. So next morning, I go out and here's this dead pig. I call Walter and Walter, your pig died. I said, how you know it's my pig? I said, And so I claimed the other one. So anyway, I had a blast of that. Maybe Ethan will keep reminding me of it. Maybe. Walter loved his farm, he loved his Jersey cattle, he loves his hay, and haying was a social thing. What they did about the hay, I said, Walter, your hay's ready to bale. Yeah, but Suzanne's going to cook the turkey tomorrow. I said, well, we can't wait tomorrow, it's going to rain tomorrow. Oh no, what are we going to do? You want spoiled hay or you want good hay? He said, I want good hay, but so he called Suzanne. Suzanne, can you cook the turkey now? No, it takes 6 hours to cook the turkey, Walter. We can't do that. So there's always scheduling the community and the hand when Walter would schedule an event around things. But Walter was a great neighbor, a great person, and I could tell stories up here for a couple of hours, but I'm sure we got more things to do with everything. And just one more story, Walter did finally raise a pig. But unfortunately, he got tied up in Norman Small. And Norman Small said, Walter, you buy the feed for that pig, and I'll buy the feed for the pig. You take care of it, and then we'll take it down to Irving Mahaz, and Irving will bristle it and butcher it, and we'll each have a half a pig. So Walter said, okay, so they get this pig all raised up, and Doc Hodgins shows up. So Walter said, I'm gonna kill this pig. Why don't I let it out of the pen, and here's a pistol, and you shoot it as it comes out, and then we load it on the pickup. So Walter opened the gate, pig runs by, Doc gets all nervous, shoots it down through the shoulder. Then he's going away, he shoots it again up through the neck. And so they take it down to Irving Mahar splits it, and Norman Small shows up and says, I don't want that bloody half, I want the smoked shoulder. I'm going to take the good half. So Walter got a half a pig that was all shot up, and Norman got the good half. So Walter quit raising pigs, stuck with bees and turkeys. And he said, Bob, we gotta get some bees. Your farm needs bees. Every farm's got to have bees. I'm going to Bangor, get 4 newts. I'll give you two starter hives, and I'll keep 2 starter hives. And that sounds great, Walter. Well, the next year, one of my hives didn't winter through, and one of his hives didn't winter through. So he said, you want to get another hive to go with your hive you lost last winter? I said, no, I'll just stick with the one hive. So he went to Bangor and got a hive to start with, and about the middle of July he came over and he said, my bees swarmed and I didn't get a chance to get the swarm. How are your bees doing? I said, I'm doing fine, I just got a hive of bees. About 2 miles away, and he claims to this, well, not to this day, but that was his hive, that was his swarm. It went in my hive, I had bacon. So, we got a lot of stories like that, but Walter was a great neighbor, great person. Jesse was talking about Studebakers and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to him, and he said, well, let's take a road trip. So Jesse and Walter went on a road trip to the Midwest and went to South Bend and went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and about 5-day trip, and just couldn't imagine it. Just a great person. Walter was a person that let me read this here. He made a difference, did no harm, and cared. So, thank you very much.
My name is Renee Gray. Emergency medical services is a profession that chooses you. You either have what it takes or you don't. It's a world where respect is earned, lifelong bonds are made, and expectations are very high. It has to be. Lives depend on it. 11 years ago in 2003, I had the privilege of meeting Walter Plow. His good friend Warren Foley had convinced him to take the EMT class, and he had just earned his basic EMT license. Right off the bat, I had a respect for Walter, and he for me. He was so eager to learn, and not just by the book methods. He learned quickly that the skills and knowledge he had gained in his EMT classes were just the tip of the iceberg, and that the true classroom and sirens had red flashing lights. Over time, his confidence grew. He had proven himself and was accepted into the Lubeck family of Down East EMS. Knowing that he could provide more care for his patients and community by continuing his EMS education, Walter enrolled at the next level of emergency medical technicians, intermediate. His desire to better serve his community became a driving force of his thirst for knowledge and understanding. Walter achieved his goal of EMT intermediate. For years, the patients he treated and the community he served benefited. And so life at the fire station with Walter consisted of lots of oatmeal that had been pre-soaked the night before in fresh milk from the Bell's farm. A daily walk of laps were on the lap going down Church Street Hill. You, together, would kick a fallen apple and see how far you could get it to roll. He considered it a great accomplishment if you could get it to roll all the way down the hill across the street into Paul Case's driveway. After the morning, Walter would invite you to accompany him to go and read to the kids at school. He absolutely adored that time with the children. You often would find Walter studying and researching. He was known for his homemade ice cream. He knew all our favorites and made a container for each of us at Christmas. He often would invite us to participate in the family softball games with the Bells at the wedding school. I fondly remember playing catch with him out on the fire station lawn. Over time and with his increased experiences, Walter realized that it was time for him to take the final step in EMS education. He decided to enroll in the rigorous paramedic course. I remember him being very apprehensive about the decision, but I believe with the love and encouragement from his family and coworkers, he enrolled into the class. 3 grueling semesters later, along with hundreds of hours of clinicals, Walter earned his paramedic license. His entire EMS family was so proud of him. We always knew he was listening to his radio, just in case he was needed. He always was ready and willing to help at any time. There's one legendary story we remember. As it played out, Walter's help was requested on the same day as his turkeys were meeting their destiny. Walter dropped everything and came as he was. And you can imagine what that might have looked like. The crew was very grateful. Walter served his community, in which he cared for so deeply in so many ways. He was the local CPR instructor who provided the required and life-saving training to his EMS and fire crews, also to hundreds of fishermen and others that requested it. He cared for the people he worked with. I remember the day I told him I was pregnant. He was just as excited as my own family. He even went so far as to bringing a rocking chair to the fire station for when the baby visited. I was so excited for him when he announced that he was going to be a grandfather. He always talked about his children and grandchildren. Walter was so easy to talk with. I appreciated his opinion and his voice of reason. To my fellow EMS crew, I know Walter has touched each and every one of us in his own way. He was more than a co-worker. He was a father figure to some, and always a friend and role model to us all. As I look around and see our future generation of EMTs, we will share our war stories with them. We will speak often with Walter and remember his dedication, the lessons he taught, the way he led, and the way he cared. I want to take this opportunity to thank his loving wife and family. Thank you for sharing him with us. Thank you for supporting him when he would come home from a tough call, for spending all those holidays, birthdays, and anniversaries at the fire station. Thank you for supporting him during his years of EMS education. Thank you for all the nights he was away from home in all kinds of weather. You will always be a part of our family. Walter Newman Platt Jr., thank you for your unselfish years of service, for your friendship, and for your love for your community. May you rest in peace, brother. We'll take it from here. At this time, it is tradition for us to read the fireman's prayer. When I am called to duty, God, whenever flames may rage, give me strength to save some life, whatever be its age. Help me to embrace a little child before it's too late, or some older person on the horror of that fate. Enable me to be alert and hear the weakest shout, and quickly and efficiently put the fire out. I want to fill my calling and give the best in me to guard my neighbor and protect his property. And if according to my fate I am to lose my life, please bless with your protecting hand my children and my wife.
Please, let us come together for a final moment of silence. Walter's favorite people in the whole wide world were children. And many a child was Walter's friend, and Walter was the friend to many a child. At this time, prior to our closing prayer, I would like to offer any children who would like to come up and receive a flower as a thank you from Walter's family and from this wonderful community. Thank you for being Walter's friend. So children, if any of you would like to come up, if you're feeling a little too shy right now, see me after and I will give you a flower. If you would like, we can hold hands for the final prayer. Perhaps you want to take the hand of the person next to you. Love and independent spirit. Please now join me once more in the spirit of prayer. Oh God, you know our hearts are broken and our sorrow immeasurable. To lose such a beautiful soul like Walter doesn't make sense, is not fair, and feels cruel. But when we live life, we have to take it on all of its terms, even when we despise those terms. At times like this, we try desperately to make sense out of being here. So we seek our common thread. We seek that which comforts us, that which gives hope, and that which in time begins to soften the unbearable pain. That thing we seek is love. And as was so abundantly testified this morning, Walter was an enormous bearer of love. And it was that force of love that Walter so tremendously embodied that we were drawn to and are still drawn to. Love, unconditional, selfless, abounding love. That was Walter. So as we begin to find our way back to what feels like the impossible task of life without Walter, let us honor him, let us celebrate his life by going forth, carrying and sharing the very best of Walter. Love, plain and simple. Let us go forward in love. Amen.
should I